big tower here in Maui. My name is Tyler Devereaux, and this is what's happening today at the Multifamily Mindset, just 6 hours behind. A couple from Seattle, Kim and David McCall, cling to a deal due to a bidding war against the great Odin's Raven.
Ooh.
Yes.
Wow.
MFCP's own Melissa Forbush also brings the hammer of Thor and lands an investor commitment at the buzzer to save everyone's ass. Excuse me, the assets. My apologies. MFCP's Melissa Forbush saves everyone's asset. I'm not sure exactly what the difference is, but they're telling me that it is an important difference.
And this just in. If you're investing in anything other than multifamily apartments, you could be a smelly pirate.
I would say you are definitely. Anyway, but speaking of pirates, my co-anchor has me at full mast.
Excuse me.
Anywhoosies. In other breathtaking news, the CDC announced today that the new coronavirus strain is like a well's blowhole. It's real. What comes from it has the potential to be deadly, but the chances are very minimal. Regardless, El Presidente Biden has released a new mandate banning all water activities. In fact, our own Max Oliver is on the scene. Max?
That's right, Tyler. They've done studies, 60% of the time, if the returns on a multifamily real estate investment deal are wiped out, it can be correlated to the coronavirus every time. Excuse me. And yeah, it's pretty gnarly out there, bro. The good news is, in high tides or low tides, the MF News team is your friend. And we're here to report, just like all other mandates, we probably don't care and definitely won't listen. Especially if that means missing the Hawaiian roller coaster, the real estate roller coaster, or the chance to be a true ripper and gain natural immunity.
How about that? That Max Oliver, a true ripper.
True ripper.
By the way, I have a feeling that's not the only thing he's ripped in his day, if you know what I mean. And if you don't know what I mean is that he's definitely ripped some doobies. Have you ripped any doobies?
Well, I plan to after
Our
later.
first date was a doobie ripping session.
Well, that is true.
Anywhoosies. Speaking of things that are also high and that Max has had experience with, let's go to Whit Oliver for the weather.
That's right, Tyler. 82 degrees on our fair island of Maui. And the multifamily investors are definitely smiling.
Knights of Columbus, Whit. Do you see that? All I see is sunshine, and market projections only show a smiley face. Whit, tell us more.
Compare that to the 48 degrees in the upper west and 32 degrees in the middle east, and that is an unpredictable forecast for Wall Street. And it makes sense why anything other than multifamily investments would have you smelling like pirate's booty. As Ryan Woolley always says, market diversity plus economic diversity plus multifamily diversity equals smellversity.
Excuse me, and I could be wrong here, but that's never happened. But I believe that diversity is actually an old wooden ship that was used during the Civil War era.
In other news, exciting advancements made within the MFM network. In case you haven't heard, our own Jackson Campbell is here to update you on the game of loans and the mindset growth that is sweeping the nation due to the Think Bigger pandemic.
Jackson, tell us more.
This just in. Lots of new investors are making major headway in the multifamily space. Gonna mention a couple here for you. Gibby Capital Investments just closed on the second property, pushing them under 400 units. Marcus Freeman is under contract for a 40-unit property after following the path and taking action, and in his own words, keep pushing, team. Lee Ford and Megan Klein joined MFM a little over 2 months ago and are about to close on their second deal, a 272-unit beauty out in St. Louis, Missouri. Chad Klein and Nick Wiggins are also under contract on their first deal. Those are just some highlights from those who have been taking action, making traction, and experiencing the sweet, sweet satisfaction that comes from thinking bigger. Whoopsies. Thinking bigger, not like a frigger. Who messed up the teleprompter? Tyler? Don't you know you're messing with the man that brushed his teeth with the lobster this morning? It's good to joke, isn't it?
Now that we have all of that out of the way, let me tell you about some critical movement in the multifamily market that you need to be aware of. And this is real, by the way, so please take notes. Any hoosies. Number one thing to take note of is supply and demand, okay? In case you have been living under a rock, there's absolutely an affordable housing shortage. Now, as a nation, we're seeing trends toward a renter lifestyle as the homeownership component of the American dream has been, well, it's been thrown in the damn garbage. People do not care about owning a home. They prefer to rent. In fact, they prefer to rent so much that they're willing to pay high dollars. That's what we like to hear. Now, that demand for rental living has created a severe supply and demand imbalance. We're undersupplied. That is very obvious when you see the way that the sellouts are going across the nation. In fact, so much so that we estimate that we are undersupplied by about 1 million units per year. And that's just to keep up with population growth. That doesn't account for increased immigration that has also impacted supply. Now, what does that mean? Well, these trends are creating a perfect storm in the multifamily space and will continue to drive investment volume in the sector up well into the future. That's what we like to hear. Now, when you look at those trends, it's hard to see any reason why multifamily wouldn't be a booming asset for the time to come, which means if you're not in, get in. Now, number two would be 401k and IRA restrictions. President Biden was about to pull a trick out of his hat that would have been extremely pungent. In short, they were going to ban IRAs and 401ks from investing in the holy grail of investments, which are obviously multifamily syndications. Now, however, those bills were just squashed, which means your investors, or you if you are an investor, can now still put those pre-tax dollars to work in the multifamily space. Now, why would they squash those? Because nobody wants to eat their vegetables without any promise of dessert. That would be un-American. And number three is tenant appreciation. Now listen, and listen closely. Though there may be constraints on supply, to fully maximize our returns to investors, we have to understand how to set our apartment communities apart. So my question is, how are you edging out the competition? If you're not sure how to do that, let me give you some insight. A recent survey reported that 84% of millennials and Gen Zs would pay higher costs for properties, rent for properties, that provide smart technology amenities such as smart locks. We started implementing these as well as other AI-based technology this year, and we have seen massive success. In fact, we've seen so much success that we're now implementing all of those AI-based technologies portfolio-wide. So my question to you is, what are you doing to appeal to your tenants and drive up your values and maximizing your mother effing returns? That's all we have for you today here on planet Earth, here in Maui. Stay classy and go MF Mindset yourself. I am Tyler Devereaux.
Don't forget, surf's up when the market's up. Thanks for stopping by.
But seriously, because I am the host, you're the co-host, I need to be able to have the last say. Seriously though, stay classy, you MFMers. Todd Miller fears lawyers more than vampires fear garlic. Is that true?
That
you
is
know
very
that's
true.
true.
Yes, yes.
Anyway, aloha and good night is the line.
And thanks for stopping by.
And also, thank you for stopping by. For me, I appreciate it more than she does. Aloha.
Aloha.
Good night.
Have a great one.
We'll see you soon. Cut.